Good evening. This is Tuesday, November 12th, and call the Townsend Finance Committee meeting to order at 6:06 p.m.
Just don't do anything.
Yeah, it's too late now.
And so we'll just do the roll call voice attendance, roll call attendance.
Carolyn Bezigas,
David Walker,
Mary Jane Churchville, Carol Hofstas,
And Don Hayes, that's 5 members, and so we have a quorum. We are ready to go. The meeting is being recorded. It will be played back on Channel 9 as well as loaded to the Townsend channel for viewing at anybody's request. At this point, I have no additions or deletions on the agenda. We'll go through what we have and continue from there. On the work session, the first item, to review the quotes for printing the MMA Finance Committee manual. I have both items 1 and 2. We had discussions 2 weeks ago when we had a working session, so I didn't get any notes compiled for it, so we'll talk a little bit about what went on, the discussions that we had, and then before we take the votes. We had talked the current version of the manual. We were discussing printing 10 copies, 1 for each of the existing members on the Finance Committee, three for reference. And that quote came in at $197. I had looked also at having 3 of the prior version printed, and that quote came in at about $120, if I remember that quote right. And we had discussion about maybe we don't need to print the prior copies, that we would just print the current copies, and by not using that $120, there's a little bit more money in the budget if there's conferences or anything, or trainings that cost a little money and attend. We did also, this discussion went for reference. We're working with the webmaster to get both versions of the file posted on the town website for us. They'll be in the Finance Committee reference. When I submitted the request, they had to submit a request to the people that manage the website for Revised Company, because when they tried to do it, they were getting errors, so that it wasn't as easy as anticipated. So that request had gone in, and so it's working its way through the escalation path. Once everything is cleared, we'll get those posted on the website. But, I mean, basically that was it. It gave us the opportunity, and there was questions about the prices being so close together when you're 3 versus 10 copies. In the printing arena, you have set up for a job. You have to do the pre-press setup and all that. So the setup there were only 4 pages difference between the old version and the new version. So when you talk about printing it, it seems like if you just do a simple division, the price per copy is way higher for the 3. Well, that's setup plus printing 3 versus setup and printing 10. So that's why the 197 is so different. So it sort of made sense to me that maybe we don't print the old and have a copy of the reference, just leave that electronic. And if we do need it in the future, we can either print it on the copy that's up here and do it in a binder versus having it printed bound.
So the 197 is bound, print in bound.
Print glued bound covers. We're doing it in the format like the annual report that is printed at town meeting.
Sure.
So did that I was gonna say if there were any questions, did that clarify that, maybe? Any questions that may have been out there with it?
I mean, I think it does make sense not to print the previous version.
Mhm.
If we can post it so, I mean, if I really want a hard copy of it, I can print it. As long as I can get a
Mhm.
soft copy and print it myself.
It's 159 pages, so it's a lot to print on a printer.
Yeah.
So, that, you know, again, one of the reasons we're doing it, but yes, once we have it, then we run that opportunity of printing a couple of copies up here, doing 3-hole punches and putting in binders. We have them, but I found having the files and referencing them, you can search a lot easier than hard copy. You can search
Right.
on pages, but having a hard copy, you can go back and reference it a little easier sometimes.
Mhm.
Mark it with that. Okay.
Do we have to vote on that?
We do have to vote on them, and because they're on here one at a time, we'll take the first one, the 10 copies. Do we have a motion to print?
I'll make a motion that we make the 10 copies.
And do we have?
Second.
Okay. Any additional questions on the printing of the cost? None being heard. I'm just so used to doing roll call votes because of remote people. Everybody, so a yes vote or an aye is to print and spend 197 to print. Let's just do a roll call vote.
Jerome Bzikas, yes.
David Walker, yes.
Mary Jane Churchville, yes. Carol Hofstas, yes.
And Don Hayes, yes. So that's unanimous. We'll print those.
You want to make a motion on the next one? Not to print.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion not to print the previous version.
Second.
Jerome Bzikas, yes.
Okay, no discussion. We'll go right for the vote.
Dave Walker, yes.
Mary Jane
Yes.
Churchville, yes. Carol Hofstas, yes.
And Don Hayes, yes. Again, unanimous. And
Okay, so that's that.
So we won't print this previous
We
version.
won't.
we will not print the previous version.
Okay.
It'll be reference available for us for download from the website and available. If you prefer a browser, you can browse it. It'll probably be posted as a PDF. So if you've got a PDF viewer, all the searching and highlighting capabilities that are available in Adobe River. And whatever your favorite PDF is. Okay, so I'm gonna try to share just in case. Okay, let's share everything and let me see.
Do you know what a BBA is?
Okay, well. Budget variance, analysis.
Oh, okay.
Did I send out these copies? I thought I sent copies of the BVA.
Is that all these sheets?
That is all those sheets, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Variance analysis. Okay, we'll get smart.
Well, that's, do we,
I think you probably told us that last time.
I think, now that
Yeah.
you say that, I think you did tell us, but I think I
that's
forgot.
okay. There were a lot of acronyms and a lot of different pieces that, were discussed, so.
I didn't bring a copy. But we could share. Okay.
Yeah.
Just take it out.
Well, if we're gonna do the BBA, I just, do you wanna do the full one from 2024?
That's what's next. Is that the sky?
That was what's next. Okay,
Yep.
so I'm gonna call it
I
up
think
now.
this was 2024. I think.
We had just.
Oh,
briefly,
yeah, no. Oh, okay.
Um,
Can anybody?
No, me too, yeah.
hang on, let me get there. It's a PDF, okay. Here we go. Here's my figure.
Oh, okay,
Is that better?
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
I have my readers on, so it's kind of like, so I'm gonna look at my screen. So we had. Um, so we had talked about each of the lines, so this was the full report on the header. I picked the wrong one. That one said. Okay, so that, sorry, it's kind of CBA fiscal year 24. I grabbed the wrong one. So this was for fiscal year 2024, and the start date was July 1st of 2023, which is the start of the fiscal year, and the end date was 6/30/24. First department we look at is the Board of Selectmen. And if you look each department across the top, we have the 122 is Board of Selectmen, and you'll see in the numbering scheme,
Oh, yeah.
the
okay.
122 is always right here.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
So just if you're looking for it and trying to group one way or the other, when you see 122 at the top, you'll know that all the Board of Selectmen should have that 122. And then they try to do some consistency, like payrolls are going to be in the 5100 area, the 5110. We're just going to scroll down, sorry. When you see the first payroll line in another department, it's still the 5100, but it's been replaced by the 135 for accounting.
Yep.
So
Okay.
it's a unique, the account number is unique to the department, but if we're looking for certain things, we can take 5100 and know that it's going to be wages.
Okay.
That sort of thing. So, but generally when we're going to look at them, and it doesn't sound like we have, so it's kind of, but this is good because with the town administrator, we can see that the total for the year expended was 135,861, and the original budget was 132,000. So the actual year to date is that full amount, and with a negative number in the unexpended, it means we have overextended that line. So that line was budgeted and we went over budget.
So you're saying that the 132 was the original amount allocated, but the actual amount spent was 135,861.
Correct.
So do we get to say why?
We can and we do. And it's kind of like when we look at it. And what we have to, in this case, we had a town administrator that left in the April-May timeframe, and we had an interim come in that got the administrative salary, which was a little higher.
So we paid two people?
Take two people for the period. There was a little bit of an overlap, but in general, when the previous town administrator left, the interim town administrator took over. So there was generally one person with a week of overlap.
Got it. So that week was $3,000.
Yeah, so it's $3,000, but when you're talking,
Okay.
you know,
For the week?
No, not the week.
Oh.
That's the year. This is the year.
Wow,
Yeah.
okay, job.
So yeah, we go back to the period. This
You
is-
want that job?
Yeah.
2,000 a week, sure.
Yeah, no. It's
That's
called that. It's
Okay.
kind of like- So, yeah,
Okay, so I see how it goes. So the community services, we allocated money, but nothing, we didn't spend any.
correct. Yep. Yeah.
So then the support staff, now what does that include? Are we allowed to ask?
I would say this, it's the,
Is that
executive-
Sabrina?
Yeah, that's Sabrina. If we talk names, it's kind of like, it's the, executive administration.
Oh, for the Board of
For the
Selectmen.
Board of
So that would be the
Selectmen only.
administrator.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
She works for the town administrator and the board of selectmen.
Right, yeah,
Okay,
So
that's
one of those reports said she should not be working for the board of selectmen, only the town administrator.
what report?
yeah.
So one of the,
right,
one
and-
of the, whatever,
Well,
those,
one of the books,
yeah, one
yeah.
of those DLA or what is it called?
DLS,
DLS, yeah.
yeah, so.
Oh, DLS, I know, Director of Local Services. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
They have a lot of information, as does MMA. And so, yes, when we start looking at it, but ultimately, she is on the day-to-day from the town administrator. She does a lot of work, and, for that, but that it should be at the direction of town administrator, not a board of selectmen. Board of selectmen is supposed to be more like a board of directors, submitting to your chief operating officer or town administrator.
And do we get to review those contracts?
We don't, unless we join, not even if we join. The contracts are negotiated, with the people that are being hired. And we don't find out what the contracts are until they've signed them.
Yeah, but we could see last year's
We
contract.
can see, yeah, we can see those
The
contracts.
24,
Yeah.
25,
Yes, all those contracts are supposed to be there.
and we can review them to see what it, yeah, okay.
Right,
good to
yeah.
know.
And we, that's one of the things that we should be looking at, and in some cases, we have looked at and made sure that what's reflected in the budget for it, and I'll say for FY 25 that we did, like the audit committee, the external auditors, when the budget was first presented, it looked low to me. And so we went back and looked at the contract, and it was indeed low, and we bumped it up to what it was. Other than that, you're gonna get to the end of the year and you're gonna have a lower,
Yeah,
you're gonna have a negative number. So,
Right.
so we have that ability to ask for the contracts, review the contracts and make sure that the numbers are here. So, yeah, I mean, if that's the kind of question you have.
Right.
I mean, that's, so that was one contract, that I knew and we did. So, these are the lines and the variances, are in here. We can see,
so webmaster, do we have a webmaster?
we had a webmaster, and you'll see that it's in this section for FY 24. In FY 25, they outsourced that position, so you'll see that it dropped from this line into an expense line.
Gotcha,
Okay,
okay,
so
all
is
right.
that when they went from, is that when they went to the new, town webpage?
Pretty much, yeah.
That new person that they hired to
Well,
do the
the-
new webpage? Or
The new person is the old person. He was a town employee before being paid by stipends, to manage the
Oh,
website.
I thought they got a new person that did that new town website.
No, he went out and formed a company, and so they signed a contract with,
And he was a former employee?
he was a former employee.
Is it then a conflict of interest?
Well, he was a stipend employee. It wasn't,
Okay, well, only because working for the
Interesting, yeah.
federal government, I couldn't do that.
Well, exactly, Karen.
That would be illegal.
I think that that's the
Interesting.
standard we
hadn't-
should keep, I think we
Yeah.
should, you keep saying that kind of
yeah.
stuff, because I think
it
that's
is. It's kinda
important.
like- You're right, it's kind of like.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
not saying that you can do it, it should we, you know what I mean? I mean, there's
Mhm.
the transparency.
There's this,
And again, how a stipend works versus an actual employee.
yeah, I don't know what the,
1099,
I don't,
maybe it's a
yeah, I don't know what the
1099
rules are, but I know
Yeah.
that working for the federal government and contracting and everything,
Mhm.
I mean, there's all kinds of things like,
Right there, yeah. Yeah.
because even for me to retire and come back to work as a defense contractor,
Mhm.
you know, I had to fill out this whole thing and said, and I had to detail every single program I worked on, every single thing that I did.
Mhm.
And I was disqualified from working from certain
Yeah.
programs. The attorneys went through and said, you can't work here, you can't, you know.
Mhm.
So to me, that's kind of like a conflict, so, but not knowing all the,
Yeah, that one, you're right, it's kind of like I would have expected that they worked through it, but I.
Well, I think that what you bring up, Carol, is very important right now in towns, seeing that we have so many eye-opening things.
Mhm.
I think we should keep that in mind as we look at things, because total disclosure, transparency, those things have been denied, I think, the town for quite a while. And I think we should be sensitive to that. And I think
agree.
your experience will be
Right,
helpful in that.
Exactly, it's kind of like everybody's brings a different
Yeah,
different
perspective.
look at it, so kind of like, I hadn't considered it, it just, you know, it seemed like, okay, we're taking it from a line that we're paying out.
The key question I would have on it is, did the cost go down or up?
There's always that, yeah.
It was actually
There's
the
always
same.
that,
It
yeah.
was actually the same. So,
Well,
so the
okay.
contract, was-
Okay,
Went up,
it
down.
went up.
Oh, it went
but
down.
it
Wait,
was-
did it go up or down? I don't know.
Okay, hang on.
okay,
Hang on,
so.
hang
We don't know,
So-
because we're not looking at this year.
So-
We're not looking at this,
Oh,
let me call up,
Yeah, but just look at that line, so explain to me where it says webmaster.
Yeah.
And they spent, so they overspent by $1,007.
Yeah.
Is that, okay,
So that's what happened, overspent.
Right.
overspent,
Yeah.
so they're pretty much lucky that they didn't spend the $10,000, or otherwise
Right,
they would have
exactly. When
been,
you-
they would have been in the hole.
when you look, it's almost by section here, so
Mhm.
when you look at the bottom line, the variance for the labor is at 95%, 95.74.
Mhm.
So
Right.
it was under by the 9,407.
For the total.
For the
For the
total,
Total, yeah.
total, right.
Yeah.
And what's temporary help?
That would be, the person that was working on the electrical aggregation and things.
Oh, that would be Ross, who was also the town administrator. Okay, got it.
It was different hats.
Yeah,
Kinda like,
got it, yeah.
um,
Okay.
The same guy that we're calling.
For $100 a phone call. Yeah, good to know.
and-
Okay, all right,
Are you aware of that?
no. You could enlighten me afterwards,
Yeah.
we're being recorded.
So,
It should be public knowledge.
so again, if I
Okay.
take a look at the webmaster, if I jump to the 2025 line, you'll see that,
There's no webmaster line
yeah,
there.
is it going
Oh, it went
up?
away.
No, there's no webmaster line in the personnel.
Right,
Webmaster,
It went away.
was probably.
HR, no, that wouldn't be it.
Communication.
Communications?
no,
No, that's about the right amount.
It's gone
But
away.
that's-
there's no new line under expenses.
But they need somebody because if you go onto the finance page, the finance committee page,
Yeah.
like, that needs to be updated with all the new membership.
So does the
You haven't
HTC.
looked today?
Hmm?
You haven't looked in the last week?
Oh, I haven't looked today. Did they update
It,
it?
like a week or so ago, yeah.
How did you get it to go up? Because I've been trying to get the HTC up for weeks.
The process is, when they set up the new website, they sent me an email, that allowed me a login to the new MetroGov site, and I can go in and log and request changes. I can't do any changes, I can only request changes.
Oh, so you can't upload the minutes or you didn't change
No,
the,
if I had minutes to upload, I would send them a change form, like the manuals. I don't have the ability to create a link on the side that says reference files
Mhm.
and go upload the files. I attach the files to my request and I say, create a directory and please upload these two.
So who gave you the
That
login?
was from the MetroGov people themselves, so I'll,
Because we need one and we're being totally ignored.
okay. That's,
So,
should be easy.
oh, good.
Easy to do.
Put that in the minutes.
Oh,
There's an action item to, provide information. And again, I shouldn't be the only one knowing these. It's kind of like, because if I win Powerball, somebody else is gonna have to do it, so.
Oh, Dawn.
You just take
Yes,
a.
yeah,
Gotta play it to win it, but.
yeah, right.
Yeah,
Um,
well, that's the problem.
So
I don't
this is
play
the
it, so-
expense.
So
I
what's,
thought
is
when-
that, oh, I just
51.
added, is that vacation, that other, is it vacation, travel?
That says
and-
vacation and buyback, yeah, vacation, buyback and travel.
Okay, what would be
Okay, let's talk
buyback?
about that. What's
Um,
vacation?
If if you don't use your vacation, you would then buy it back or buy back time if you I think sick time if you don't use it.
How much time are they allowed to keep?
I don't have that contract
Oh, okay.
memorized. It's kind of like.
So okay, well, we'll have to change that contract when we renegotiate, because where I work, if I don't use if you don't use the vacation,
You
you
lose
lose
it,
it.
use it or lose it,
Well,
yeah.
Right,
Well,
they
that's-
don't
well,
buy it.
No.
It's kind of like I work.
Well, yeah,
for a
that's,
place that
yeah, where I
away
work, if
from-
I use my vacation
Yeah,
days,
right.
to
Yeah.
buy,
It
bye-bye.
was kind of like, the last place I worked, the vacation policy changed from if you don't lose it to you can have as much vacation as you want, as long as you get your annual work done.
Right,
So there was no vacation
Right,
policy,
and no, button by
no,
the,
I work 25 years, I get 4 or 5
Right,
weeks vacation. And if I don't use it, I carry it or
Right.
lose it.
a lot of companies are doing that now.
Yeah, so it's a change in, in that, but, while we're here then, it's kind of like I'm gonna open up an Excel file, I'm gonna go back to last year. When we were working. Yep, fiscal year 25. Sorry, bear with me, it's kind of like it just. So that was FY25. Gotta be in the right place. We had working budget. So this is what they call the omnibus file. This is the working file that we are provided during the budget reviews as we
Okay.
go.
Okay,
And so we can see what happened here is, let me blow it up again.
oh, I see what you're doing.
So it moved, and you can see that it's in the expense line.
Mhm.
On line 15, it was listed, and you can see there was no money through FY24. It was $6,500 in FY25.
okay.
Okay. But it, and it will be reversed on the personnel, or does it
so
come
if I-
off the personnel?
If we go up, I just scrolled up, and again, if I scroll over, it was in FY22, 23, 24, and then it's gone in FY25
Got it. Mhm.
in the personnel side.
Okay,
So that's what I expected to happen.
okay.
But now I'm working and going, okay, where is this line in the budget? You know, like,
And the expenditure in the ledger that yeah, because it's,
Mhm.
because there is a professional services, but that's only shows a 4,000 original budget.
right.
Town minister, community service support staff, human
So here's
resources.
the 65 BOS. BOS communication is the only one, it's the only one that's $6,500 or higher. So,
Okay, right, and last year that was a 0.
okay, very good.
Oh, so
Yep.
you're saying that's the,
Right,
That's
what
it.
So that's the
went back
switch
to.
over.
that's the
So,
switch. over.
so,
Okay.
yeah, they didn't.
kinda
they
weird.
didn't- They didn't bring over the name.
Right,
Right.
but they probably should have at least said
There
Yeah.
should be a notes. field
Right.
to-
Yeah.
to-
prior, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah,
where-
Right, no.
that
and
they
maybe
moved
there
it.
is, I'll ask for additional reports and see, but that's where the 6,500
Okay,
has gone to. It's kind of like, it's now an expense line. And
okay.
taking a look at it, it was, well, when we ran this report, it was at the end of, well, the 1st of October, which means it was 3 months in, so 25% of of the money for the year has been used up in the first 3 months, which is a quarter of the year, so pretty much right on target.
Okay. Oh, did we ever find out about the trash? How much money we got
Mm.
from the bags?
No,
From-
that's an outstanding question. I tried to get that answer. We haven't.
Okay,
got it
just
yet. I
curious.
would, no, so am I. I think we all are, because,
I think the town is.
well, the whole town is, and again, part of our success on the budget this year is showing that the revenue is going to attain the target. It's kind of like, so we have to have, there needs to be reports, and the state will be looking for them.
But the
Probably
first couple
within
of
the next
months is gonna be where the.
Well, that's gonna be the bulk of the, bulk of the money's gonna be the first couple of months, because I know they were hoarding it.
Mhm.
Josh told me people were coming in hoarding bags, so.
So that was in
That was
September.
September and October.
Yeah.
So it should be evening out now, right?
It should be starting to
Yeah.
even out now to get,
Are we gonna have that information available
we-
to us?
we have asked, we'll keep asking.
At what point, I know that you said the state will monitor the
Mhm.
targets, at
Yeah.
when do they, like,
They'll be looking for it in the next month,
in the next month?
because we're now, December, the next month is gonna bring us into December, we're 6 months into this year.
Okay,
If we're not on target with that revenue, our budget is out of balance.
so
they're gonna be
what will,
looking for
what will
other
this, what will the state do?
They will not certify our budget as a balanced budget, and they will be asking for the town to look at it and come up with, a solution that puts the budget back in balance.
Balance, okay.
So is our responsibility just to report, or do we also recommend ways that the budget can go back into balance?
We can recommend, but we have, finance committee is not in the bylaws, we don't have any power to do anything, we only have a recommendation role.
But recommendation, like advisory capacity to recommend,
Right.
based on information that we are allowed
Right,
to have.
and the main piece is, the other main piece that we have is, as we approach town meeting, and we are the representatives of the rest of the taxpayers in the town, we recommend at town meeting whether an article should pass or not.
Right, now, but we know that going through the year, because we have our,
We
we know that information like every quarter.
Yeah.
Is it possible that we could somehow disperse that information to the residents so that they're not like shocked at the end of the year when we tell them that?
We'll see. I mean, that sounds like something that is almost like the BVA report that we're looking at, and we're balanced, but right now we're looking at the 2025. So it's kind of like we have reports. If I would assume that anybody has the right to request it with the open.
Yeah, with open, right, yeah.
It's kind of like, so if we can do it on a more proactive basis, then.
Right, because maybe the town people don't understand this information, that you're
Yeah.
being very clear to us, because I would never have understood it.
No, I wouldn't, without your
Right,
explanation, I'd
yeah.
just be looking at a bunch of numbers, not really knowing what
And
any of it
again,
meant.
that was why I had provided them to see if anybody looked at them and had questions about the numbers, and how we would, where there would be any questions.
But now we know what we're looking at,
Right.
so next time we'll have questions.
Well, but again, I also send out one that was an Excel spreadsheet?
I don't recall getting
I think
any.
so.
I
Okay.
don't know.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
I can't remember. I usually print out
I'll
your.
go back and,
John, you know, the
That's,
one thing that I would like to see this year is, whereas these, departments, for their budgets, is that they present their own budget rather than have the selectmen present it. And have to justify their budgets if there's questions from town meetings for, rather than have the, it's their
Well,
budget, defend it.
Right, I agree with you 100%, because they created it.
They created it, so it
Um,
should,
They should be
Presented
able
by
to
them.
present it and defend it.
exactly.
Yeah.
and I'm gonna go, and I'm looking for a multiple year plan. I don't wanna just see FY 26.
You want the 5-year plan.
I would like to see 5 year, and, because we we have
Aren't they
to,
required by state law to do a 5-year plan? Or is that the state only recommends it? Because every time we go into the state, it says 5-year plan.
Mhm.
So
Well, that's what we
I,
had for open space and stuff, wasn't it?
they,
7-year plan for the open space.
the 5-year plan, when we look at the Townsend, policies and procedures for budget, it says that the 5-year plan is gonna be presented and delivered to us, as the finance committee coming in. So if that's the case, let's have it up front and let's see what the departments have.
So each department creates their own 5-year plan.
Yeah, and then it can be rolled up. Now, if they need help or something with it, I mean, that's something we can do.
Well,
If-
right, but making the effort is the issue.
Making the effort is the issue and explain it to us. It's kind of like what's a 5-year plan gonna look like for each department? Because, there are departments where the department head is getting nearing retirement. We have built into some of the budgets over the last 2 years is training for the assistants in those departments to take classes so that they can, it's
That
the,
makes sense. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. okay.
you know, so those were the kinds of things, they're in the budget. It's hard to say, I wanna spend extra money to train somebody, but we're training people that are already working for the town, that wanna stay working for the town, and then promote from within and show that
Mhm.
development.
That makes
show a
sense.
career
That
path.
makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense.
So there has been some of that over the past couple of years. But that's gonna transition. The people will retire and somebody's gonna need to step up in that job. And generally, if you look the way you hire on the outside, there's usually a big bump for anybody to come in to a department head job. So if you
Yeah,
can,
but it makes so much more sense to be training
Right.
over a 5-year period,
Mhm,
a
right.
local resident rather than,
So, yeah, or somebody that's already.
Somebody's already
It's already, that's already
Don't have to be
working,
local.
Um,
oh,
But
Yeah.
that's one of the
but
things.
somebody
that-
that's already
Somebody's
here.
already working.
in the town.
Right, yeah, somebody's already working in the town, in those in that department, and is doing the assistant.
Well, it would seem that would be almost like an incentive for the people who are working to want to stay and continue, career pathing, whatever they
Yeah,
call it.
I mean, the other thing you do, if somebody gets training and it doesn't come to fruition that the person retires, then there is that opportunity, they're now trained, and they could go in and take a position in another town, but, we're hoping.
Well, don't say that
Well-
out loud after we
No,
train them.
exactly, but,
Well, that
it's kinda
happens in a
like-
lot of places,
I know,
so.
I
when you,
understand.
when you do that, but it's like that with any, if somebody takes school and you pay for their education.
Yeah, no, that, I get it, yeah.
Then they can jump at their own, so
Right.
it's harder, but
Do we offer that, education? Is that part of our,
again, I don't know if we have that. in-
because I think if we do, we
Mhm.
should have to commit to so many years to
Mhm.
us. If we're
Well,
gonna-
sometimes that's a contract, if you're gonna
Right,
be,
so we have to-
you get
yeah.
2 years give back, 3 years
Well,
give back,
it
yeah.
depends on what
What it
what
is.
it is and how much, what the cost was.
Right.
I mean, you could take, I take training classes for the planning board, it costs me $25.
Right, yeah.
So I don't want to be committed to the
No.
planning board for 5 years,
Yeah.
because I,
No, but that's the kind of thing, that the planning board is a volunteer position, it's kind of like, we hope you signed up for a 5-year stint.
Job.
and you
Yeah,
signed
no.
on, or unless it was a,
no, I got a 5-year
Partial,
stint.
yeah.
To get 5 years, yeah.
so, so, those are.
This doesn't seem complicated to me.
It doesn't seem complicated, does it?
Not
but
at first blush.
It's more than 900 lines, and you gotta look at.
Whoa, I'm only looking at these.
Okay,
lines.
so
Oh,
it's-
okay.
That's what I'm saying,
This was the printout.
Oh, the
whole
900, oh,
year.
I
Oh, yeah,
didn't
see,
see, oh.
this is,
right,
this
so
one,
there's 900 lines of
this is,
updated.
this is what you do with the, town meeting when they
Mhm.
vote, right?
Right.
And they vote
Very-
the sections and say, here's, let's look
And
at
then
all
you're
of
trying to
this.
flip through and find out
Yeah,
what page.
Yeah.
you're on
and
all
let's
that.
move this
That's
over
something
here.
else that are,
But is it the same thing every time, Don? 900 lines of the same thing?
Yep.
Yeah, it's the
so,
salary, personnel expenses, salary, yeah.
well, but
Oh,
those
but
are
the
departments,
departments.
the departments. are
Oh, by
changing.
department, okay,
Right,
so, all
that-
right, so the
that's-
template is
that-
personnel expense.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in each department, and
In
so
each,
it
yeah.
started with Board of Selectmen and.
So you can see each department, you know, you got your wages.
So they've got print and advertising.
Advertising, you know, depending on the,
Yeah.
but
So-
everybody has dues and membership and, you know, there's certain
Pretty,
standard
pretty
stuff.
much, and so I've just scrolled down, I've got the finance.
Oh, here's
committee.
somebody thinking ahead, replacement and equipment.
Do we do maintenance in here, like building
I don't
maintenance?
think Townsend does maintenance,
Like,
I've
no.
noticed.
I mean, put it.
There are
I
lines,
know,
there are lines for maintenance under police, fire, and facilities.
End
Oh,
of
okay.
story.
Those are the places that,
Well, I'm thinking about, you know, thinking ahead, like putting money aside to replace a boiler when it dies or.
Okay, so,
Something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Is that go into like a facilities kind of
It's
thing?
probably in the
or-
capital reserve fund, I would imagine.
well, those are the pieces, I mean, if you do a boiler, it's kind of like this, probably 25,000, so you would get into capital. But capital is usually done in the December, January timeframe,
Okay,
and.
well, I was just wondering if we
So, yeah,
if
so
we
it's your
allocate
August.
Okay.
money for roofing or boilers
Should.
or.
Yeah, of course we
And-
should.
And we don't, so one of the things that I've looked at in the manuals,
Mhm.
because, and Andrea has told us, and maybe it was before we both joined, or all three of you.
Yeah, we didn't
joined.
see.
When we read the manuals that we're talking about printing and look at them, one of them says it is for the reserve fund that we have, so I've displayed up here, just so that we're aware. So the finance committee has a budget, and this is where we have the 750, and so we paid the 196 for our dues, and that's where we're paying another 197, so when we take that out, we're still gonna have about $357 for.
What dues does the
Yeah, what
finance
dues
committee
is-
owe?
That is our dues for the MMA. So in order to have the membership to the MMA and
And the MMA is what?
Massachusetts Massachusetts Municipal Association. They have
Oh.
conferences and
Oh,
you can get logins and go and
training?
some training. They will have training online that you can get to. So I'll get the logins for everybody.
Oh, that would be
Or
great.
you're gonna do your own login and password, it's kind of like, I'll get you the link to, really request this.
Like, it's MMA.
MMA. Yeah. There's lots of different sections of it. I think it's AFTC for the Association of Financial Committees, town. It's kind of like, so there's different segments depending on who you are, but there's new to government, new financial, and a lot of that is in DLS also. So there's lots of information that is available from both of those.
Those organizations.
Yeah, both organizations can help a little bit. So, so if I scroll a little further down, you'll see, the finance committee has something called the reserve fund. I mentioned it last week.
Mhm.
We get $50,000
But where do we get that from?
into that comes from, when the budget's here, on the general fund, 50,000 of it is allocated for us to use. So the money from taxes is keeping going into the general fund. When we need this $50,000, it's there. When you read the reserve fund, and it is for unexpected items that appear during the year. So,
Boiler roof.
Okay,
well, that's the kind of thing. And Andrea said, it's not a maintenance fund. We shouldn't be using it and that's all, we used it for all that last year. We used maintenance funds. We had a lightning strike at the police department. We used it for, deductibles on our insurance. We had insurance claims and we had insurance, the deductibles came out of there. Those are things that you should have known. There should have been a different budget. When the ceiling fell in the main stairway, that's a maintenance budget. It's not, to your point, did we do it?
Yeah, we weren't
We weren't
watching the whole
prepared.
store. Got it.
Now, when I read, this reserve fund should be for true emergencies, something that popped up out of the pool.
So a true emergency would not be considered a lack of maintenance.
A lack of maintenance budget,
But-
a failure to put it in.
Mhm,
Now, if everybody put in slosh and every department that had maintenance put in $50,000, we wouldn't be able to balance the budget because there'd be too many. But you can do multiple reserve funds. You could do a reserve fund for maintenance. So you put one amount in a reserve fund and you transfer it out to the department that needs it as it goes.
And
Just
it
like we
wouldn't
do.
be our committee.
It's not our,
It's not.
it would still be our committee. I think it should still be under the purview of finance committee, but we have two. One is building maintenance reserve fund and one is reserve fund.
Oh, I see.
Okay,
Okay,
So
that
we can
makes
have
sense, yeah.
multiple. Now, when we do the percentages, $50,000 is 0.045% of the town budget. So we're talking
We're
about a
not killing,
minuscule,
yeah.
you know,
Okay.
Yeah.
we can't handle a big,
Right, but having that reserve fund for maintenance would not negate the department having their own.
they would have, and again, in my mind, I would like to see a maintenance line and a repair line. Don't have maintenance and repair.
Oh.
Because maintenance is the.
Different than repair, I get it,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hear you,
That's-
yeah. Mhm.
That's my opinion. It's
Would-
kind of like.
No, I mean, when you look at the words, yeah, no,
Yeah,
so maintenance would be like having somebody clean the furnace
Well-
once a year
right, and repair would be when it
when it
Right.
breaks.
breaks.
And you
Yeah.
need to replace a part.
right. So because your maintenance and your maintenance contracts are known quantities, you've probably signed a contract for those recurring
Do
maintenance.
do we know that we have maintenance contracts?
We do, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
We have some. It's kind of like, but sometimes they don't cover certain things.
well, yeah, I mean,
Um,
yeah,
You know, in one indication, a couple of years ago, the elevator here in Town Hall needed a safety upgrade. It's kind of like, so
Upgrade.
a safety upgrade, not maintenance. So that is an unplanned thing.
Or nor repair, so would that be reserve fund money?
We did that year, but that's maybe something we want to do is go back and look at all the money we've taken out of the reserve fund for the past few years.
Oh, and see where it's
And-
going, yeah,
and
that's
see
a
where
good
it
point,
went.
yep,
And say,
Yep.
you know, this should have been,
yep.
this wasn't. It's kind of like, and then we can help.
well, yeah, some,
Upward.
a safety upgrade, you wouldn't plan for that because you wouldn't really know that.
Right.
But I'll tell you, if you ever go to a federal building, don't use the elevator.
So on upgrade,
Yeah.
is that part of the contract with the elevator service?
No, see, that's outside the contract. So
Ah,
they had a maintenance contract to service the elevator and do the regular annual certification and
Right,
all
right.
of those. But they didn't have one for safety upgrades. So that was in, so it was
interesting.
within the maintenance, if it was a normal breakdown, break fix, or whatever their.
So do they get a notice for that safety upgrade? Did the town get a notice from the elevator
Was it like a
company?
recall and someone paid for it?
Yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, the town. paid
Something
for it.
like that.
You know,
Oh, the town, oh, not the
Yeah.
company.
Yeah, not the
Okay.
company.
Okay.
It was kind of like, so that one, but that's a case where it's an unexpected expense and maybe more likely to come out of the reserve fund.
Okay.
So, question about that.
Yeah.
Unexpected to the department people,
Mhm.
does that necessarily mean that it's unexpected? Because sometimes if they're not paying attention, it was,
It could be, and those are the questions that we need to ask as they're coming in. We don't have to, when I didn't show the form, somewhere in the future we'll show the form. In order to spend and use reserve fund money, a form has to be submitted to us
oh,
to
okay,
request
okay,
funds.
okay.
So we have the ability to review it, ask questions, and either accept or reject. And we have rejected requests in the past, and it's kind of like, so those are pieces, but as we try to get better, again, if you're building in overage amounts just in case something breaks, it's better to pool that money instead of having each department.
Right.
It's kind of like you don't have as much. Now, this $50,000, if we don't allocate it, it gets certified in the free cash balance next year. So this is money that if we don't use it, will come back to us after the close of the year and free cash.
But we can't budget money that's coming back. We can't say when we're building the budget for next year, oh, we're gonna get $50,000 back that we didn't spend. We can't build that into the budget.
Exactly.
We could use, once we get it, we could possibly allocate it to the next year's budget.
You can have another line, something like that. And the example, if we just go back to this past August, when they were having the town meeting, and the police chief was moving his lease out for 6 months.
Right.
And so, the idea was move it out and then in the fall have a town meeting and allocate the money to start the lease. So that is after free cash is certified. Now you've got and say, okay, with free cash, we're gonna have money to do his leases. And that, so when free cash gets certified this year, it would be a little more than it has in the past, probably about double, because we have properties that we sold. That money comes into the general fund, so there's increased funds that went in,
Right.
not anything, not recurring or anything, so it's one-time use. When we look at the expenses, if I go back to the 2024, when we get down to the end, that number's gonna probably be in the 300,000 somewhere. So when you combine those two numbers, there's gonna be significantly higher money available.
And that money we could say, put in the reserve fund. Because the reserve fund carries over from year to year?
The reserve fund does not, the stabilization fund does.
Okay, so we would put it in the stabilization.
So, and again,
Fair enough.
I constantly go back and forth. It's kind of like, reserve fund is year to year on the budget.
Okay.
The stabilization
Is
carries over.
carries over.
And in that August meeting, we did take money and approve. We recommended that money be taken from the stabilization to supplement what was going on with the rest of the town. So
Right.
it's kind of like with the
They're supposed to pay it back.
they're supposed to pay it back.
How do we make them pay it back?
We can't, but we can do as in our recommendation, that the article, we're gonna make sure that there's an article that gets onto the special town meeting, whether it's in the fall, in the winter, if they have one, or if it's gonna be the special that's inside the annual town meeting next year. One of the articles has to be that we do the stabilization fund and transfer those monies back in, and maybe more, because we're losing ground in the percentage of stabilization to the total budget.
Didn't we kind of misuse the stabilization funds a little bit?
So no.
It's kind of, stabilization is trying to stabilize your budget or
Okay.
whatever. And I mean, in this case, it was trying to stabilize the budget for 6 months instead of a whole year. It's kind of,
Okay.
and not drawing it down with the idea that we're gonna replenish it. That was the thing. Much like many other things that are well-intentioned, we should probably be working and have an annual article that puts more money into the stabilization. If we had a major item like re-roofing the town hall, that's a significant, that's not a budget line. That you might be able to take from stabilization, but if you have that plan of always replenishing and having it, you can take it out, pay it, and then start paying, building.
But wouldn't the ideal situation be that the maintenance department would have their reserve fund building up every year so that in the event of a roof
Well,
disaster.
and that gets to, we have to look at, is there a different way? You can't have it in the budget. It has to be something that's sort of outside the annual budget piece where you're doing that.
And
Because-
you probably don't want each department having having their own reserve fund, because now everybody's gonna be like, well, building up this money.
Yeah.
And people could be sitting on a pile of money and a different department
Mhm.
has a true need,
Oh,
but they don't
I
have
see what you're
enough.
saying.
Yeah.
and I can't take it from the other department,
Yeah.
whereas we
Right.
have one stabilization fund.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
can
Right.
Yeah,
allocate it out as we
allocate
need
it
to.
Yeah.
where the need is.
Yeah, stabilization is, I think it requires 2/3 majority, so it's not a simple majority. It's
So every time you want to move money from one department to another, you have to go to town meeting and get the voters to say, yeah,
No, not every time.
not every time.
And again, there is an opportunity to move money among departments at the last 2 months of a fiscal year and then the first 2 weeks of the following. So if a department is down 10,000, somebody has an extra 10,000, there is what they call a municipal transfer request. And so that comes in and says, can I take money from HR and put it into facilities? And so the to and from account numbers are there, they're listed, the current balances on each are there. We analyze looking at the VBA and we say, yes, it looks like a good transfer. There are certain restrictions and we don't really have it. Because we have the regional school district, you can't transfer money between the utilities or the schools and the town. So you can't, so big cities that have their own school systems have to watch that piece and they can't transfer money back and forth from town to school.
Do the towns, like the federal government, at the end of the fiscal year, go on a spending spree to
Some do.
spend down all their money?
Some do.
Do they really do
And we
that,
have to-
Ken?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, the federal government's crazy at the end of the
Yeah.
fiscal year.
Right, yeah.
Oh,
all
my
the- all
God.
the POs gonna, yeah.
Oh, God,
Yeah. Yeah,
I couldn't tell you
look
what
at this
they,
money I have in the account, but, and those are the pieces. I'm just gonna
This
scroll
is so
down.
interesting.
I was gonna say, it's gonna,
as a taxpayer, you'd be crying what the federal government does at the end of
Oh,
the
yeah,
fiscal
don't
year.
tell me. Yeah, don't tell me.
I'm just looking for a line that, and again, I'm just gonna highlight this one happens to be in the Board of Assessors, the stipend longevity. It was budgeted for $3,000, and it's 2,000, but longevity is one of those things that you pay it once, you're not gonna pay longevity all year, every year. So if they pay 2,000 out of the 3,000, the fact that this percentage is at 66 after 3 months isn't an unusual event. So that's not necessarily in line we need to be looking at. Let me see if I can find IT.
Oh, yeah, let's look at IT.
So,
It's all right, probably, we can't set the heat higher than 65 degrees.
Oh, I'm sure there's some kind of rule or something, cap on
if
it.
it's cold.
No, I don't.
It's fine.
Yeah.
We want to save the money, but we
Yeah.
don't want to get it too warm.
Yeah.
So, the IT department is in its own segment, 155, Management Information Systems. So again, the same,
So that's IT, management yeah, okay.
yeah, MIS is Management Information,
Professional services, $68,000.
out of 160. So it was budgeted for 160,000 this year, which is closer to reality, but in the first 3 months, we've already spent 68,000.
But 68 times 4.
Well, yeah, so right now, and again, this piece that we're looking at is 42.98% or 43% when we're a quarter of the way in. So that's a trigger to me.
I would say.
Yeah.
And again, it could be a trigger. It could be that they wanted us to pay for software licenses all up front. But it's a question.
Oh.
You know, so if they.
Okay.
Right, that could have been, okay, I mean, we've got all kinds of software here,
Mhm.
and, okay, it's beginning of the year, it's time to pay for the license. Well,
Okay.
that's one expense over the entire year, so I'm not gonna be paying, you know.
Right.
You won't
It's not
pay in the
gonna
other
be-
quarters.
So
you
like
won't
if
be
I had
returned.
$50,000 of license costs this year,
Mhm.
and I had to pay that in July, okay, that's
Right.
50,000 out of that 160, so that's a lot of it, but
And,
I'm
It's
not
not gonna
spending that the rest
Every
of the
single
year.
quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
get it.
and
I
I
get it.
will say.
So you have to look at that, because they don't give you the breakdown of what this is.
They don't give you a breakdown, so this is where. we
The
have
questions come in.
This is where the questions come in.
Okay.
So that's the kind of thing that that I sort of try to get my eyes fixed on.
Okay.
So now I'm just gonna jump to.
I mean, if we look at last year.
Yeah.
I found the MIS, I think I found the right section,
Oh,
Okay.
oh, I don't like that.
155 MIS.
155,
There's a cost for, so last year we had 135
Yeah.
budgeted for professional services, and they
Mhm.
used 124
correct.
for the year.
Mhm.
So, but
Upfront.
this doesn't break down how they spend it over the year,
Right.
right? So as long as they don't spend more than the 106. Now, what we don't have is why did this go up by 25,000 this year?
Yeah, right. Right, but I also
And
think we
so-
should be able to look
And
at
so,
it.
you know, when we get their budget for next year, we want to see, okay, well, how did that line item change? And if it did change,
Yeah.
we want to know why.
Why so much?
Yeah.
And I have to go in and
You
look.
saw that
because
right off the bat.
A couple of times we have transferred money into MIS for equipment failures, unexpected equipment failures. So again,
Yeah,
are we
that happens.
doing the right
yeah.
thing
Yeah.
with reserve fund? And
Now, do we vote on that as the committee?
we
To
do,
move it?
yes, we do, when it comes in on the municipal transfer request or the reserve fund request, we vote on it. Municipal transfer requests have to be passed by both the finance committee and the board of selectmen. So both committees have to,
Oh, agree.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Now, do they meet together and vote on it, or do we each meet separately and vote
generally,
separately?
we meet separately, but there's no reason why we can't do joint meetings, to try to do it.
Towards the end of the budget, we
Hmm,
get together,
Yeah.
but
that's kinda
really
like-
it should be more than what it is.
We can arrange.
So, what I have in front of us,
So
can
interesting.
you all read that up on the screen? So that, this is the Excel version of the BBA. So like the town administrator line for 2025, is sitting at allocated at 135, we paid 12,000 to date, and so it's percent remaining is 91%. And I mean, the numbers are complementary. It's kind of like, you know, showing percent how much has been used versus how much.
Right,
Now, my little piece,
Okay.
instead of looking at every line,
Mhm.
I let the computer do the work.
Mhm.
If certain things in certain conditions are met, the line's blank, I don't have to look at it. Like, they haven't spent any, so last year you looked and saw that the community services coordinator, or HR, was 20,000.
Mhm.
And this year or last year was 10,000, this year it's 20,000. We haven't paid anything to date. That we'll get into that, those are positions funded by ARPA funds at this point.
So how come I don't even know how to say it.
We are trying to bring in their salaries into the budget so that we can afford them when we have to pay for them.
But Don, I thought that the ARPA funds were supposed to be used for non-recurring expenses, and payroll seems to me to be,
There were certain conditions and certain positions that you could hire that ARPA would pay for.
sustaining.
not sustaining for the length.
that
of the
2-year,
operation.
3-year period.
Well, it turns out it's more like a 5.5-year period.
Oh, so 5.5 years of ARPA money, and then the job goes away.
It doesn't necessarily go away if we can absorb it and find it and find that job useful. Like,
What if we can't afford it?
if we can't afford it, then we have to have that. Then we have to have that discussion of, is it a position we need? Is it a position with less hours? Is it not needed? If it's not needed, then there's gonna be the whole process of layoffs. And when we get into how we run, we don't pay unemployment based on the salary base we have. We fully fund unemployment every time an employee collects unemployment. So there's two ways you can fund.
But wait a minute, so you're saying that, so you self-insure on unemployment?
Yeah.
Is there a reason for that?
Because we generally don't lay people off. Because if you're paying unemployment.
I get
for-
it, I get it, I
for-
totally understand it.
Yeah.
But you only pay up to a certain amount of,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
of what they make. I mean, it's not like you pay the full salary,
You don't pay the full salary, you pay what the full benefit.
whatever that benefit is.
Yeah.
So if you come to a person we have to lay off, and your unemployment is, say, I don't know, 60% of salary,
That's, yeah, that's fine. That's
okay, so you
enough.
get $100, you give them 60 for 12 months.
Yeah.
Rather than keeping them on at 100 for ad infinitum. I mean, that's like balance
Those-
this thing out,
That's right, yeah. And those are the decisions we maybe
have to make,
have to make,
or look at.
Look, yeah, it's kind of like,
I get it.
so those are the pieces.
But I understand the ARPA funds were not to get yourself creating more money that you have to pay. It was supposed to help during the
It was
COVID
supposed to help you.
situation because you
Right.
needed people to get
Because you
information out.
needed certain people to do certain things. at certain-
Right, order
Like
masks,
an extra-
distribute
An
them,
extra
things like
meals
that.
person for needing meals for the seniors.
Correct.
That kind of thing, yes. The outreach coordinator, there was a lot of work in the beginning with the outreach coordinator. And that was extending hours in a position that existed at the senior center or council.
I can understand. So do you know if when these people were hired for these ARPA funds, were they under the impression that they were forever jobs, or did they, you don't know the answer
I
to
don't-
that? So you
yeah.
don't know how it was delivered to
I
them?
don't know how it was delivered to them. It's
Yeah.
kind of like, so we need to, those are pieces. I will say there was also police and fire that were hired with ARPA funds, and their salaries have been picked up in the operating budget. So there is.
And we have to look at that, because,
Yeah.
I mean, that was federal government
that was
setting the
federal
rules, right?
government Trying to help.
Help for the leg up during that time.
Right, yeah. So you'll see when you, and thank you for sending me list of ARPA.
Yeah,
project. It's kind of like, and that's where most of those other projects were limited for a certain amount of time.
right, and
and-
what I don't understand is why is the money there and we still have needs? Like the police cruiser, for example,
Mhm.
the road situation, for example.
Yeah, I don't think ARPA funds were meant for those kinds of things. At the
One
time,
I
time,
know.
I think
Oh,
so.
yeah, for the roads.
Yeah.
Yes, I know for the roads, because I went into the Mass website
Okay.
to try to understand ARPA funds.
Yeah, it was,
And what I could gather from the Mass State ARPA fund site was, I think you could hire temporary, it was supposed to be for infrastructure, repairing roads, bridges,
yeah.
that kind of
Mhm,
thing.
yeah.
You could hire, it looked like you could only hire like first responders maybe, but it wasn't like a jobs program. It was more to take
with
care of
if the extra need.
infrastructure stuff.
So that's what I have the question on, is there's money left over in that ARPA fund? I mean, in the different
Right.
categories, there's a lot of money left over that has to be allocated by the end of the year?
It not only allocated, but you have to have the purchase recs or orders in place.
So the ball got really dropped.
And again, I looked at that and I wonder if the numbers just haven't been updated somewhere along the line.
That was as of August,
Now, well,
the one I have.
but when I look at it, for instance, the position for the outreach coordinator, that hasn't come down significantly. So I don't know where those, how the person was paid, because they're not paid out of the budget here. It's kind of like, so,
It's kind of like search and find,
yeah, or go back and ask the questions for, yeah.
and
it's
for
kind
of whom,
well, at this point, it has to probably be Nelson, because he's really,
you'll have to
It's kind of-
call Ross, and that will cost $100. So,
no,
Are you kidding?
no, I'm not
yeah,
kidding.
no, so it,
Who's
Yeah.
Nelson, who's Ross?
Okay.
Nelson is the town administrator, Ross is
new-
the ex-town administrator.
Nelson just is fairly new. He's been here, what, 2 months?
Yeah, he wasn't here.
yeah, he
when
started at the
everybody
end of
left.
August.
Right, and so he
Okay.
doesn't know,
So
so
he doesn't know, so if you ask him the question, he doesn't know, he has to call the
call
other guy to
Ross,
get the
right,
answer.
and the
But-
Board of
And that guy
Selectmen,
has to, and that guy's gonna charge
But
you.
see, but.
Yeah.
And he was only an interim, he was never truly our,
exactly.
it's kind of like, so.
That's
um,
horrible.
it's-
We'll
no,
get to
it
that,
is,
we'll
but-
get to that.
I think in this case, I'd say if we're looking for payments, we go back to the accountant and ask for an accounting.
To the town accountant, right? So the town of Townsend keeps the ARPA fund accounts. It's not the state
Right.
and the federal
Yeah.
government are not involved in that.
When we say the end of the year, do you mean the
Okay.
end of
The
this
fiscal,
year?
I think it
Or the
means
end
the
of the
real
July.
year. No, I think it means December 20.
the
Okay.
fifth,
So
oh,
our ARPA funds
oh,
have to
okay.
be allocated for a project and for use by December 31st, 2024.
So
It's
that's
like in
We're-
6 weeks.
30 days, yeah, right.
Six weeks
So
from
we
now.
gotta start.
And so that's to say, this is what I'm gonna use them for. You don't have to spend them until December 31st of 2026.
Well, you
So
know,
halfway through FY
these
27.
other departments, let's say like the highway department,
Yeah.
are they aware that this has to be in by the?
Good, excellent question. Are they aware
Are
that
they
they
even
could
aware?
Yeah. do they even-
participate
Does
in these
everybody-
monies?
I
Because the other,
believe it had been the Board of Selectmen really running.
Well, we can't rely on them because they left the ship.
That's-
Drowning rats left the ship. So now I think the department should be made aware that there's money from ARPA,
Yeah.
that they have 4 weeks to decide,
Yeah.
do they need it, want it?
Is there paperwork that needs to be filed?
There is paperwork that needs to be
He's
filed,
the
and
one
again,
that
we,
needs
to-
it's not just,
he needs that money.
Well, then Jimmy,
The roads.
then we should let him know like tomorrow morning. We're talking about Jim Smith, who runs the highway department. And find out what the rules
well,
are.
again, I, rather than us running around, I think it's conversation with Nelson, and see what his plans are. He's supposed to be executing,
I understand what he's supposed to do.
so it's kind of,
Uh-huh. Aren't you glad you left the federal government?
so.
It's okay. Just relax.
I know.
So anyway. it's-
But no, I think that will help us as a town. If
Oh, yeah.
if the highway department needs $120,000 worth of road work, and they're gonna put it on the budget for 2026 or whatever, and it's there.
900,000, but
Well, okay, well, I was going, well,
I'm
but
gonna-
But whatever, I mean, if the money's there, because if they don't use it
We-
now,
it's
do the
gone.
return back?
It's
lose it?
gone.
It will roll back.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we need the highway to, because there's lots of
Lots of
roads in
roads,
town
lots of
with
potholes.
potholes.
Can we like do a shout out so that the department heads can know that we're having this meeting tonight?
I think we are.
Oh,
Yeah, but I think on that, and I'm gonna reel that in, we have concerns with ARPA, we'll raise them and get them. I don't want us to be going out,
oh, running
Okay.
around, you mean, and trying to spend the money?
it's not necessarily trying to spend the money, but number one, we have to look at the list and see, is,
Updated, the one that, see if it's
Well,
updated.
how,
Yes, it's
list.
updated.
how long does that take to
um,
get the update?
I got that right away. I requested it from the clerk of courts, or town clerk, and I had it within 24
well,
minutes.
that's, that one, that's a list that's up on the website, so it's kind of like, but as far
But we
as,
don't know how much our balance is.
we don't know the balances for sure, so
No,
that's.
because that was as of August.
Right, so that's taking it, and again, I would look at it, if we were paying somebody $66,000 a year for that whole period, it should have subtracted down the money from the balance that was there. And
But were we paying it out of ARPA funds or were we paying it out of tax
no,
dollars?
we weren't paying it out of tax.
You know
dollars.
that for sure.
Well, we saw in the FY '24,
Oh,
the
okay.
10,000 was there and zero. It's kind of like we see the 20,000 this year, it's still zero.
Okay,
It's
so,
kind of like, so that's, again, by putting it in here, we're building a buffer of free cash is what we're doing by using the opera funds to pay it. But it looks like the opera funds aren't being deducted from the balance that's posted. So that has.
do we know who's in charge? Oh, you're saying Nelson is in charge of that?
Well, he's supposed to administer the board of directors, or the board of selectmen.
And he's supposed to be working on the budget, right?
He will be working on the budget. The budget message has to come out soon. It's kind of like,
What's a budget message?
The budget message says, to all the department heads, we're doing the budgets. We, expect that it's, COLA is gonna be 1% this year, plus the steps, and try to keep your expenses to a minimum, in order to hit it. Or we need to cut 10%, find 10% to cut out of your budget. It's kind of like, so the budget message is what it needs to be to try to hit the target. And
Oh, so each department has a target date that they have to meet?
so the budget message goes out the first week of January. All the budgets are supposed to be back in, and we're supposed to be able to start.
Who sends out the budget message?
Town administrator. So somewhere, I gotta go back and read it, in that it looks like, whether it's the MMA manuals or whether it's on the process,
It might be in the process thing.
that it says that the finance committee can put what it would like to see out first, to say, what we wanna see, and that's why when we talked about the department budgets, I think we want hard copy in a book and maintained here so that we are reviewing the most current, multiple years.
I know one of those
So-
things, they had like a template, but I don't know if it was ever adopted in one of those
Yeah.
processes things.
Yeah, so
So the budget message goes out in January
it goes out in December.
or goes out in December? But if the department heads want information on ARPA
Mhm.
so that they could
Short time.
Right,
short time
right, so that's
How do
gonna have to
we-
be something in front of the budget message.
in front of the, right,
Yeah.
like next
as
week,
soon
like
as-
this
as soon
week.
as
like-
there's a board of selectmen, it's up.
Oh, I forgot about that part.
Yeah.
We don't have any government. Okay, got it.
So
Yeah,
as soon as there's a board of selectmen,
Yeah.
okay,
Gotcha.
it's kind of like, sort.
That makes
Okay.
sense.
So their first meeting will probably be next Tuesday, a week from today, in this room.
We'll be there.
And,
Wow.
I won't be
Where are you gonna be?
next Tuesday.
Yeah.
I got something else.
that's board of selectmen.
But I think they're on Zoom, so you can,
Yeah.
you can watch it when you get back.
But anyway,
What
sorry,
time is
it's
it?
kind of like, I
Same
just
time?
wanted to go back to,
Oh, it's at 7?
I think it's at 7 every
I think
time.
it's at 7.
Okay,
So
so
it's
next
gonna-
week, next
so-
Tuesday?
by putting in these formulas and things, like, this one, I'd say overdrawn.
Would that be a red flag?
I can make it any color you want.
No, I mean in your mind, no.
Yeah, yes.
Yes,
So-
make it
so-
a red flag.
Yeah, it's kind of like, but that's the thing, it's kind of like, so we had a line for $10,000 for temporary help, and it's sitting at 24,000 already to date, so we're in the hole of 14,000.
And what was it? Oh, wait, was that for the elections?
No, this
That was
is,
a separate budget.
no, oh.
Is it the
this
election
Board of
money is
Selectmen-
separate?
This is Board of Selectmen temporary wages,
Really?
again,
Who are
I
they?
think it's,
Who are they?
Well, that's
to
what we
be
gotta
honest
ask the
with you,
question.
my opinion, we were paying the wrong line. We were paying a salary that should be on the town administrator line, and we're paying it out of
Temporary.
temporary help.
Can we confirm that somehow?
Yeah, that's,
Oh,
that's,
okay.
that's what we're gonna do. It's gonna,
Oh,
we,
okay.
we identify it, we say, oh, this line
How
doesn't
much was
look,
it, 10,000?
it's it's 14,500 right now. That is overdrawn. So.
What else have you got cooking there,
Well,
Dawn? I
but,
mean,
but that's why I say, this is when we're looking at them, instead of having to look at every line and figure this.
I see what you're doing. You're doing a scan, but you know what you're looking for. And
And that's why I wanted other people to look at the BBA, come up with lines and see.
okay, but now
see
that
if
we know
can
how to
make
look
this
at
better.
it, this
Yeah.
is a better,
Okay.
I can do it now.
Yeah.
I could never have done it
So
You
in
know,
preparation
okay,
of
yeah.
it.
So
Okay, gotcha.
the
All
next
right,
line
yep,
that we had
yep.
was, there was no budget, nothing allocated, and the allocated line means
Whoops.
we changed it from the budgeted line, but they paid $190 out of it.
For
So here's-
buyback vacation time. Uh-huh,
Or travel.
Yeah.
or
so-
travel.
Right, so in this case, the little formula says the line's overdrawn, it wasn't budgeted. It's kind of like somebody needs to look at it.
Oh, that's a
Okay.
note that was put in by who?
Me. in the
Oh, you've
formula.
already
He's
done
got a
this.
formula to generate that note.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Okay,
So it's kind of like,
Okay,
so based
I'm
on
in.
looking at this,
Yep,
I
yep,
said,
yep.
oh, there's no budget money, no
Mhm.
Okay.
allocated money.
okay.
How'd
It's-
this get here?
It's, yeah, basically,
Mhm.
the line's negative, so the line's overdrawn, but it was not budgeted.
And how much is that?
That's only $190.
Yeah,
Again,
but
is it an
190
accounting error
times
to
X
be
is
typed
another.
in our,
Right.
it was a typo. and we
Oh,
flipped
you
it.
think it might be a typo? Well, you don't know.
When
Yeah.
somebody's keying in a payment, if you put in the wrong number.
Mm,
Been there, done that.
I do, yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who hasn't?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in this case, we're at 45% of a line remaining, and I just put in the review. We're only 25% into the year.
So
Okay,
so when you look at your percentages,
Mhm.
that's giving you a clue. So
Yeah.
on your percentages,
In
if
this-
it's over 25, is that something we should be, oh, let's take a peek?
what did I use? I think I did 40%, just as a beginning mark. So,
Well, there's the 97.8 coming up.
percent used. Oh, this is remaining, so there's only 2% used. So,
Remaining
yeah, so.
is the first one,
Yeah,
and the second
so-
one, oh, okay, I
Right,
would have
so
done it
if we-
differently. but
Yeah,
okay.
it's kind of like,
Yeah, little-
let me hide G. It's kind of like I said, it was overkill. It's kind of like to do both.
Oh, that's good,
So,
yeah,
so
okay.
here's the percent used. So I said 54% is used, 54.5
Okay,
is used.
so the next one is 25.4, that
That's so close to a quarter, you know.
you're okay with that,
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
okay,
The 37.1,
right, exactly. Well, okay, so that's the thing.
so where do we stop, where do
Well,
we,
yeah.
what's it for, office
Office
supplies, so
yeah,
Yeah.
that might not be a bad thing, depending on what
Right,
they,
so it's.
Right.
what are
it's
they
kinda like,
buying? I mean, the Board of Selectmen, they weren't
Paper.
here.
No, but it come out of their budget is all of the supplies for the copiers.
yeah.
Oh,
So,
for the entire building,
Yeah.
so they might have had a
that
big,
makes sense,
big binge of paper, toner is
yeah,
wicked
yeah.
expensive.
ridiculous.
Yeah, you
So-
don't want every department
Right.
order.
So, and I didn't
No.
wanna have to look at.
Yeah. Well,
Everything.
Yeah, like
It's kind of like,
1,800
yeah,
things,
so,
yeah.
so
So-
you pick a number,
Got
and
it.
we can pick that
Okay, so
number, and
I
I
know.
can make,
Jerry, we
make it a
could do
variable.
this, we could do this over coffee or something.
Yeah.
This looks fun.
So if I then take everything that's not blank and turn it off,
Mhm.
now what you've got is just the lines that.
Oh,
um,
oh,
let's see. And of course, I can't see it, so,
overdrawn, that's huge.
So-
Line overdrawn, not budgeted.
yeah, so. it's
Again
kinda
and
like-
again and again.
So, wait, here's the case.
Air pollution
Oh.
districts.
Okay, so again, this
Sure.
is, we created a new assistant director position at the library,
Not ARPA,
not ARPA.
okay.
No, it was the previous children's librarian was moved to assistant director. The wages, so this line is all here, so it's 346, so let me undo everything. It's kind of like,
Well, this is like a game almost.
well, yeah,
Figuring out. Okay, so she went from,
so she went from children's librarian to assistant director.
okay, so
Okay.
she had a bump of $15,000.
Yeah, but see, that's,
Did she go?
See the
full-time
assistant
by
director on line 350?
I see
Has
it.
not been paid a penny this year. So it looks like it's a coding error or being reported incorrectly.
Oh,
I
okay,
see.
I see, yeah, yeah.
in the-
Uh-huh.
You know, so it's kind of, but that's what this does. It's kind of like, you know, so I mean, I'm not flagging the assistant director as a problem in my formulas, but I know we created that position last year and.
But you knew that, yeah, we wouldn't.
Right,
know.
Yeah,
you
we
wouldn't have
don't know
known
that.
that, but
But if you look at it, you can infer that, you can
have to,
infer
you
that
have to look
something,
at, something's going on because the
Right.
line.
Then I would look at it and say something's
Yeah,
going
we're
on.
not-
Right.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
It's
make an
not up-
inference,
It's
so
not up to us to find all these,
what the nitty gritty is, we're just supposed to look at
take
this.
a look at them
Again.
yeah,
and
okay.
Yeah,
say, I got a question on that.
so you say you emailed us this file?
I thought I did. If I'll
I
send
think
it
you
again.
did.
I guess I
printed
don't
it.
recall seeing it.
Mhm.
That's
Okay.
the
Just send
twenty
it out
twenty-four
again.
one,
But
right?
that's the PVA, this is the
Oh,
that's
Excel
the other
version of
Oh,
it.
that's the other version
maybe you
of
should
it.
just send it to us again.
I'll
just
send
in
it again to
case.
everybody,
Okay.
make sure. It's kinda
Okay.
like- And again, you know, that's the piece, it's kinda,
How many pages is that?
it's, only 400 lines, so 408, so 66.
66 pages, how fun is that? Should we
66
each
lines,
take
no,
20?
66 lines per page, so,
Oh, 66,
yeah, less than 10 pages. I'm just gonna do that math.
it's less than
Okay.
10 pages, yeah.
408 lines is actually not too bad.
Yeah.
No, it's not, but then we don't have to look at every line, but,
Right,
you know, there was a line that came in, there's a line in the budget that said, oh, there's a special town meeting article, and the elections is sitting at $19,729.88. We didn't do that as a number at town meeting. We did 22,000 at town meeting, so I went back and I looked at the town meeting notes and it was 22,000, so question is, did we get the right amount keyed in to that account to start with? So
What's
they-
19 plus 185? What would that, go back there.
Yeah.
So you've got 19,729, 19,729. Now go to the third column, that's
Okay.
185.
Oop, hang on, sorry. I started typing and. Get rid of that. Okay. So you wanna see what so,
If you add those,
okay, so. it starts-
185.60, oh
Okay.
no,
So this
No,
is,
that won't
this is
work,
the
no.
balance available right now is the $19,544.20.
Mhm.
And that 185 is
Mhm.
what gets you to the 19,729.
Oh, to add it
Yeah,
to the
so
1954.
this is the amount
okay.
that was budgeted.
Mhm.
This is the amount that was budgeted, and this line is how much is spent.
so
Sorry.
far.
Oh, so she
So
could
far.
spend more, maybe she doesn't know it.
No, she does.
Oh.
It's kind of like, and she will with what just happened. All the early voting and all of that for the,
Yeah.
that money hasn't hit here yet. I mean,
Oh, I
the
see.
payrolls for that. So this money will be taken, maybe, you know, it's kind of, and that's the thing, it's kind of like just an explanation, why isn't it near the money that was allocated at town meeting?
So are you saying that we should take that Excel and go to the percentages first I mean, how do you tackle it?
Well, but I think he might be saying we should all tackle it in our own way because,
Oh, okay, all
Right,
right,
because-
okay.
yeah.
because he wants us each to come back. I have a question on this line, and you
Oh,
come
and
back
I
and say,
must-
I have a question on this other line.
Okay, I see.
Right.
And that way we all come together and we kind of have our questions
From
And-
different.
from different perspectives.
Okay.
and hopefully from all of us,
We'll have one big.
we get one big answer of, okay, clarify all of these things, or
Right,
some of my questions, he might be able to say, oh, well, that means this.
Right.
Okay, good, my question's handled, we don't have to take it any farther, or whatever, or some of
Right.
the questions might be, oh, okay, that's a good question, yeah, let's go find that out.
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
This is a
that's fine.
collective job.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And are we gonna discuss it at the next meeting?
we can, because we'll have to set the meeting, but that's all, I mean, I did this is my terminology, if somebody doesn't like the terminology. we
Oh, no, I
can-
think we
No.
should
it's-
stick with.
It's kind
No,
of,
we'll stick with
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
Yeah,
No,
let's not
it's-
complicate
I'm not
it.
gonna re-
Yeah,
yeah.
let's not complicate it.
No, it's not it's not complicated. You see a word that doesn't make sense to you, let's identify it. It's kind of like, now, this is, as I said, these reports, come out, and because you can start typing in cells and change them,
Mhm.
these are not the cells that were delivered from the assistant town accountant. They're in so when we look at this, when we look, all of these numbers are formulas back to where they really exist. So I'm working with a copy of the data. I'm not working with, because
I don't think
if
I
I,
understand that.
well, if I change, when I was doing my formulas, I wanted to test that they worked.
Oh,
So I
okay.
would put in numbers I wanted to see, what happens if I,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So these
that's
aren't
fine.
real? This isn't real?
no, this is the real data, but it's not real live data here. It exists somewhere else.
It's just, this is a copy.
This
This
is a,
Okay.
this is a,
I'm
Right.
good.
like,
I'm good with it.
like if I wanted to see what was budgeted on the top line, 135,
Mhm,
and I put in 0,
mhm,
and then you see no initial budget
mhm,
allocated funding.
mhm.
If I put in 0 here, it says no budget, no line, but the line is positive.
It
So-
is positive, yeah.
Yeah, because, it's,
Okay, that's like step 3.
that's
I'm
step
still-
3, don't,
I'm-
yeah.
Yeah,
This-
I'm still
this-
working on step
yeah.
1.
So how often do you get this updated?
We're gonna ask for it on a monthly basis. It's kind of like, more than that, it's kind of like, little,
Yeah, it seems like
Yeah.
a month, at the beginning of every month,
right.
we
and-
should get an
And
updated.
it's probably gonna be about 10 days in. It takes that long for
Mhm.
anything that came in the prior month to get coded in.
And then we can look at them.
And then we look at them.
And then we can
And it-
highlight the ones that we have questions on.
Right,
Okay.
exactly. And again, I didn't do it here. It was in the formula. When it said review it, it was
Mhm.
based on a percentage. I can go back in and we can change that percentage when we're looking at it. And it will automatically, because of the way it will work, we'll put in what percent do we want to see, and then. the
Yeah, so if
formula.
we look at it every month.
Yeah.
Quarterly, it will be easier to digest it. Should be,
Mhm.
should be.
Right.
Right,
Mm.
yeah.
Now, and then do we take this information and go back to the department heads and say,
It might be the treasurer is the way to go, because they key this information.
The treasurer gets the information from the departments, they put it in.
oh,
And
so
then
then
we
the
get the-
typo
we're
could be
getting
at
a
that
copy.
office and then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it could, or,
And
again,
then they might look at it and say, okay, no, we have to go back to the department to ask
Yeah.
them,
And they would go
Mhm.
back.
and then we would go back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
anyway.
Yeah,
that's-
yeah, those are like a chain of command. kind of.
Yeah.
That's the BVA's. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
that's
That
so
was a- that was a
interesting.
lot of-
Wow, this was
Yeah.
really
All right, so
interesting.
that was items 2 and 3 kind of taken together, right?
That was, yeah, it was.
Was
because
it? Okay.
When they're in the spreadsheet, you
Yeah.
can see if I look at FY 24, it's just on a different sheet.
Right,
And
Right.
it's kind of like, and my formulas lost something when I transfer.
Oh, that was so
to work on it.
interesting. Wow, okay. Now I'm beginning to get, I can do this, Jerry. What? I can do this.
I know
This is
you
not
can.
just adding and
No,
subtracting.
it's not.
Yeah. Okay,
It is, it's not bad.
no, I get it. It's kind of forensic-y.
And I had listed correspondence just because I wanted you to be up to date with the emails that I've sent. I did get from Nelson, but I want to confirm with him a reminder that November 18th is the, and I just got it this morning,
Middlesex.
is the North Middlesex.
Oh, what time is that? Is that 6 at night? Oh, I thought it was a morning thing.
No, it's at night.
So where are we going?
North Middlesex.
North
High school, the
Middlesex,
actual high school?
the actual high school, and I think it said in the auditorium. If that's what they call it, Performance Center.
Yeah.
Okay, 6 o'clock at night, NMRS.
Yeah.
And when
Oh,
are we
that's
gonna
six-
do
is
that?
that 6 o'clock?
And when do they, what's,
I'm gonna have to say, when I read it today, it said leadership, but I don't know what town leadership means. So it's kind of like.
town leadership? Yeah, I'd like to know myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
So it's gonna, so So that's
That
the
should
piece.
mean every town that has a finance committee, their finance people should be
Should be
there,
there.
not just your board of selectmen,
I-
not just your
Oh.
PA. You
So
should
it's been-
all be there.
Okay,
Okay.
and that's why we're going.
What date is this?
November
The
18th.
18th.
It's a Monday night.
I don't know, okay.
Yeah.
I wonder if I have
It's a
planning
Monday,
board
not a
meeting
6
that
p.m.?
night.
Yeah, it's a
I
high
do.
school.
I think I have a planning board meeting,
Not
but,
You'll
just
have-
Laura.
what?
Not Laura, just selectmen by then. Because she,
Yeah, you know who's gonna be chairperson if she gets selected,
Lance.
because I'm the
Let him
vice
be
chair.
Let him be chair.
Oh, so-
You
yeah,
can be
'cause-
absent.
yeah,
He did it before.
I know he did, and I don't wanna be
So,
chair.
and then the other correspondence I wanted to make sure, and we already discussed, was that I had reached out to make the changes to our webpage, and I'm just gonna call it up since I'm open here. So that's,
But that North Middlesex school meeting is an open meeting to the public anyway. If we don't get invited, we can go.
Oh, it is? Oh, it's a public meeting?
Well, it is, yes,
so,
Okay,
I just went to the town website.
okay.
but nobody can tell.
Oh, look at that.
See, I didn't look at
Oh,
it
yeah, but
this
what
week,
is
I
it?
looked at it last
Yeah.
week.
Oh, but my name's spelled
So-
wrong.
Is it?
Oh, yeah, but that's okay, I'm good with it.
How's mine? I can't see.
I'm
it.
small J.
Ah,
I'm all
okay,
one word.
I'll get you.
That's okay, but I've seen it like
I don't know
that
if
for
that-
the
Yeah, I
past
think I'm okay
75
for
years.
change.
so.
Yeah.
Jerry, I think you're correct. No?
No,
No?
is it two
No,
hours?
you are,
Okay.
yeah, G-R,
Okay.
2 R's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carol, 2 F's?
Yep.
Yeah.
Dave,
And
Yeah.
there's on
you're
there.
good, that.
With the term,
Can hardly go wrong with that.
Okay.
so,
Oh, I'm only on for another couple months. Jeez.
no, that would be the end of,
Or is
Next
that the
year.
fiscal year 225? I don't know, it's
Yeah.
gonna end.
Yeah.
Okay, we won't talk about
yeah,
that.
that'll be May of 2025. Our terms end officially when they gather town meeting. close.
When's my term in?
You in 2026.
Yeah.
So Andrea Wood and I are the first to go
Well, you're not going.
in terms of, this,
In terms of needing reappointment.
in terms of needing reappointment.
Right, and so what I had requested was in this area, the related links. I was asking to be added there and have. And that's where they told me they ran into trouble, so that's the correspondence. from
Oh,
the
so this
website.
is, okay, so that's why we don't have that.
That's why we don't have access to those files today.
Gotcha. Now, normally would the BVA be where budgets are?
No, but that's
Okay.
something that we have to, it's kind of like if we're gonna do them and make them available, then that's.
I think we should make them available to the town. We have to get the town more involved in this town.
Oh my God, it's disappointing how many people are clueless about anything.
But I
and
think they
everything.
really want to know. It's just that there's no outreach to them. This is my theory on that.
Sometimes they don't know what to ask.
Exactly. They don't know anything about how it's run. The
Right.
people who are running
I
it
don't either.
didn't. Yeah, just.
I don't really,
No.
that's true, but I don't really know.
No, and so I
But you're
think,
educating yourself. It's what you're
right,
doing.
right. But I
You-
think
you
we have
are,
to
you-
outreach
It's kind
to
of
them.
like, I appreciate everybody doing and asking the questions, it's kind of like that hopefully is gonna make us better when we get to that.
Oh, always
Budget
asking
building.
questions makes you better. That's been my theory since third grade.
Great.
So, Don, I actually have a quick question.
Yeah.
I'm looking at these, I think this is the printout that you gave us last time,
Okay,
right, of the whole BVA for last fiscal
Yeah.
year. Starts out 29 pages.
Yeah.
And at the end of the 29 pages, it's got a total accounting, 26 million,
Mhm.
plus minus, blah, blah, blah. We spent 98% of the budget. Then
right.
we've got a second set of 6 pages. What are those?
Is it a total of, did I do 6 pages?
Well, yeah, there's a 1 of 6 to 6 of 6. And like this. So
I may have only done a small sample, this is.
I'm just wondering what this is all. Is
This is, so this is the BBA, this is
Right.
operating expenses. These are other, other accounts that are in here, like this was a special town meeting. article
Yeah,
in December of 2018. And this was associated charts with the charter. So this was created for the charter money, and we haven't expended anything recently. It was probably 10 or 20,000 to start, but there's a balance of
okay.
3,800 in it. So this is
So the-
money.
So these are all special items that are outside the normal
Right.
budget.
Yep, so like 300th anniversary celebration.
Oh,
Every
Right.
year at town meeting, we allocate $5,000 to it, so it's been,
oh, so it'll be
Well,
money
yeah.
in there, oh.
right, so
There'll be
there'll
20
be,
grand.
Like thinking ahead.
so.
It's
we-
thinking
Somebody-
ahead, oh my
somebody's
word,
thinking
yeah.
ahead,
So
yes.
we talked about the certain money being available and how do you do it?
Mhm.
Well, this is an account, you set it up at a special town meeting. and
Oh,
say,
you had talked about that earlier.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
You know, so
Okay.
that money
Dave
can
found
carry
it.
year to
Are you on
year.
that
What does it
committee?
say on it, Dave, so we can identify?
Well, so it just says, so for the 300th anniversary celebration, it just says there's 20,000 in the budget and it hasn't been expended, nothing,
Right,
nothing
nothing's
expended.
been-
Because it's waiting for the 350th anniversary.
Exactly.
Correct.
Yeah, because it's not seed money to do fundraising or
Uh-huh.
anything.
What year
It is just money.
What year is
I
that?
think it's 2032.
God,
It is 2032, because that's when they're gonna open the historical capsule.
Okay.
I just read about that today.
Where is it?
Well, we don't really know. It's in a wall in the school.
It's a wall what? In the
It was put in a wall when North Middlesex was built.
Really, because they turned it down, I mean,
Oh, no, it's a new one.
oh, a new one, oh, okay.
Okay.
So we
So
have to go on a
That
mission to
was
find it.
additional accounts that have money in them.
Conditional
Okay.
account,
All those-
conditional account.
okay.
Okay, I just
Yeah.
I like that idea.
No, that's perfect.
Okay.
Perfectly good question.
I wanna look at that and see what's on
No,
it.
I'll be there, so, and I had reviewed minutes from the working session, I failed to do the notes because we had a working session, but. I
Did we
did
have to take
approval.
notes on,
It.
it was a
it-
15-minute
it was-
meeting.
It was a 15-minute meeting, but, they are not, we don't read them in, but it was a working session, and so I sort of did that verbal update about.
You did that at the beginning of
At the
this.
beginning of it, so it was verbal, not written.
Okay, verbal not written, Carol. Verbal not written.
Okay.
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 So interesting.
Under new business, I just said start definition or finance. Not tonight, for our next meeting, so I wanted to make sure on our new business, we start talking about the requirements for the FY 26 budget season. We did mention a couple tonight, so I made the notes. So it was very timely, you know, the department budgets, coming in, meeting with us, that sort of thing. So we want to continue that and build what we're gonna do through, the FY 26 budget.
So you're saying the department heads coming
Coming in.
here to our meeting
Yeah.
and presenting and
Talking about.
talking about it.
Right.
How many departments are there?
There will be certain ones that are combined, because,
Like gas inspector and tree warden.
right, so building inspector has all of the gas running.
Okay.
And that.
But he's not the inspector, he's just.
He oversees it.
Commissioner.
Yeah.
He's the-
Yeah, the
yeah,
commissioner.
Building.
Is that Dave
commissioner.
Vigia?
No, that's water commissioner,
Oh,
so.
what's the other one? Yeah,
No,
It's
sorry, you're-
built in the building department. It kind of-
In the fence rework, stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Bob, okay.
Building department, let's put his name.
Is that Bob, is that Builder Bob?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
Robert Garside, yeah.
Okay, got it.
So under him, he has, you know, private.
Gotcha. Okay.
Weights and measures is kind of like,
Gas pumps and
so,
stuff.
Gas
we'll,
pump.
yeah, we'll get you the number next time.
That's okay, I'm good, but, I don't really need to know the number. I mean, if there's 50 of them, we don't have 50 meetings.
No, we would have one meeting, probably invite him in for half an hour. Talk.
They come in sections like.
Yeah,
Okay,
come in
Every half an
section,
hour.
general government, it's kind of like, now the other thing we usually do is a Saturday session called a budget summit in Board of Select. It's a combined, it's a joint meeting with the Board of Selectmen.
So, when we meet with these department heads.
Yeah.
We don't have anything to, it's not a dialogue, they're just coming to present.
They
Correct.
come to present and
You can ask
allows us to.
You can ask questions?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's kind of like, and I think it was like that at one time. It seemed that over time, it evolved from the department heads really coming in and talking to the finance committee, to the town administrator, to just nobody really showing up and having answers, but.
So there was no interchange, no
Yeah,
dialogue,
it's kind of-
no clue,
No.
people were just
Right,
making
you
decisions,
come in,
yeah,
yeah,
okay. got
Yeah,
it.
it's kinda-
It's
so,
gonna change now, right?
we're gonna try to bring it back to
Mhm.
where it was, and again, it's kind of like, we're asking for a real plan, we're asking for what's it look like in 2, 3 years. I mean, you know, granted, a budget 3 years out or beyond that is a best guess, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't take a stab at it.
Right,
and-
I agree, and I don't think you're being, dictatorial or anything about that. I
Mhm.
think that, how can you move forward if you don't know what you're moving forward with?
Or if you're asking, and I will say, we asked for 2.5 overrides the last 3 years.
Mhm.
1 year at a time, we're always trying to balance the budget, we don't have a plan. What happens if I do an override now, what does that mean for?
How
3 years?
does that affect next year?
How does it affect next year or the year after?
Mhm.
We don't know that. It's kind of like in schools this year, it's kind of like, I got my fears on how much the increases are gonna be. Yes, again, I keep on mentioning it, but they had 5 bargaining units that they negotiated with this year.
We're definitely gonna have a 2.5 override for the schools again.
What happens when it gets so out of control,
Well,
you
it-
can't pay for it? I mean.
Right, well, that's the piece, it's kind of like, it's kind of, you keep on cutting the town budget, it's kind of like, there's nothing, when we look at it, what are we gonna cut? We're gonna start cutting into safety items. It's kind of like, most departments, the growth departments in the last couple of years have been highway, fire, and police. Everybody else is pretty much, there's been a few hours added here and there, but not significant numbers. So that's something else we probably want to see, is historically, where have you been in the last 5 years?
Mhm, mhm.
What's been your hours, your number of people, and where that is?
Yeah, I don't think it's unreasonable to ask that of the department head.
Right, it's kind of like, show me where you've been, show me where you're going.
Right,
That kind of-
oh, this is great. No, it's really very interesting.
So another question I have, I thought we had a volunteer fire department.
Of sorts, we have some full-time, we have full-time, ambulance, fire, so there are some full-time people on the fire. But a lot of the firefighters themselves are volunteer. So it's kind of like,
So
but
they're on call.
everybody that's full-time will probably be on call.
It's hard to
if you have
get,
a
but
fire.
we can get that information, that should be public information.
It's public
Is it?
information, you can.
But where
can
do you
go-
get it?
It's on the website, you will see, appointed and elected officials. So-
So if you're
Um,
appointed
it's-
and elected, you're being
So-
paid.
Not necessarily, it's kind of,
So
so and I think, under town clerk, there is. I can find town clerk.
It's not
under town-
alphabetical.
It is, it's kind of like, under here, we have elected officials and appointed officials. It's,
Okay.
right now, it says 2023. Again, it's gonna be a PDF file.
So those are, would you pick appointed? Tubby's not there anymore.
This is appointed because they are town employees, and employees have to be appointed.
So those people work for the town.
These people will work for the town. You'll see the election workers.
You see Mary Jane Strickland.
Oh, yet again, yeah.
Um,
Oh,
so these
Yeah,
are,
we work.
you, as election workers, you have to be appointed. And so,
I understand now. Okay,
Yeah.
I get it.
so when you get to fire EMS,
They're appointed.
they're appointed.
FF firefighter?
But, yeah, paramedics,
And
they're
then
all.
you
they're,
start getting to your per diem people.
Those people.
But they're still getting paid per diem people, they're not
Yeah,
volunteer, that's not volunteer, how do you know when you're volunteer?
Most of them paid?
I don't know, I have no idea. Appointed, can you
Yeah,
not
well, I
be
think
paid?
they get a stipend when they go on a call.
When they go on
right?
a call, but yeah.
For
Oh,
the
oh,
volunteers.
but they're
they
not
get-
getting a weekly or,
So-
Well, for the volunteers, I think get a stipend when they go on a call.
Right, yeah, so the other ones,
But they don't get a salary.
no salary in that.
Right.
I'd like to know how many are salaries, though, I really would.
Yeah, no, I would
Right.
too.
Well, I would
so
too,
we'll
well,
we'll
have
see
to
that.
find
That-
out.
Find out.
we'll try to, it,
Now,
again,
but the police are fully salaried, we don't have volunteer police, right?
no, and even with the police, because of the requirements and the training, he's even going away from, the part-time.
Why?
Because of the amount of money that would have to be spent in training somebody that would be part-time.
Oh,
On-call fire, on-call police,
now this is capital planning.
Yeah.
Is Chris Marcella
Those-
still in
yeah,
that?
so the-
Not-
Are
yeah,
you?
so,
Is
I
that,
am,
is Chris?
no, I don't think Mike is either.
I don't either.
no, Mark,
Oh,
okay,
conservation,
so, yeah, so if these are the boards, they're appointed also, so,
but they don't get paid, do they?
no,
No, you don't get paid, you don't get paid.
no, I don't get paid. The only position that might be paid, and we don't know for sure, is clerk here. Because the clerk for finance committee went on the bylaw, said there's a stipend for,
Oh, that was Carol, you were gonna get paid, remember when we appointed you?
Am I
That's why
gonna
you
get
took the
paid?
job, remember?
but
Volunteered.
there's no rules about what it is and there's nothing in our budget, so it's like.
You're out of
Well,
luck.
it's been-
Yeah.
You
It's kind
have-
of like the look that came over my face when I read that was, did we mess up? It's kind of like, because we've just been going year after year, the same.
Zero budget and zero pay.
Okay, so yeah, we should really know what
Now,
we're
see,
dealing
this
with.
is not updated either, because Darlene isn't a,
Okay.
warden anymore,
Nope, you are.
yeah.
No, but this was the 2023 list.
Oh,
so.
okay.
I don't work on.
I was
I
just
didn't
using
work in
it as,
2020.
He was using it as an example to show the
Example.
fire.
but, but that's the most recent that's,
But we really should,
Yeah.
know who's getting paid, who's on
Right.
all these different
All I got,
departments.
because when I first moved to Westford, and we had just moved into our newly built house, and they were building the house across the street. And it was like this time of the year, and they got a knock on my door, like we were like the third house built. And he goes, "Can you call the fire department?" I was living in Westford, he was doing drywall, had one of those gas tanks caught fire. So I called the fire department, well, we just moved to Westford,
Hmm.
and we're all on well water.
Oh,
And so the next thing I know, they say flames, I said, yeah, the thing's flaming, not the house, but the thing. But anyways, long story short, they come with the little pumper truck.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are they gonna do with that? And then there must have been 50 volunteer on-call
Yeah.
firemen
Yeah.
that all showed up in their cars.
right,
to put-
Wow,
to put
wow.
up- And basically, they told us, I mean, the guy, he's lucky the tank didn't blow up. He actually literally pulled the tank out of the house with flames shooting out of it. But, so nothing, and it was snow on the ground, so he threw the thing there.
yeah.
But they basically told us, because we had moved from Chelmsford with town water, first
Mhm.
time on well water, they said, basically, we just come to make sure nothing else burns, but the house will be gone.
The summer favorite. Yeah.
Because
Because they don't have any access to water.
Yeah.
Right.
no access to water.
Oh
and that
my
little-
goodness.
That little truck, I mean, it was literally
Yeah.
like a
It's-
spray.
10 gallons,
truck.
So,
I'm like,
so,
Scary.
running low, okay, so I was just trying to get the, next meeting, it's kind of like,
Oh, you mean the date for it?
yeah, a date for the meeting, it's kind of like,
Aren't they always on Tuesdays?
yeah, so I'll update the website because it's just Thursdays, but.
Yeah, can we do Tuesdays? Because that's the one night I don't have to
Yeah.
chauffeur kids around.
Okay,
I like Tuesday, do you like Tuesday days?
Tuesday is generally fine. There are Tuesdays I have other commitments.
But you
And-
can let us know, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah, certainly, yeah, if you,
Yeah.
like, if we set the next meeting tonight, I can look in here as he's trying to pick a date and say, yes, I'm available that day, or no, I'm not available that day.
Yeah.
That's why I know, like, I'm not available next Tuesday.
Oh, you know this, but we don't have
Yeah.
a meeting next Tuesday.
No, we don't
Right.
have a next, because of this selection will be.
Oh,
Because of the meeting on Monday. probably.
oh, Monday
The select board
night,
meeting.
okay, so we
So
got
we're
Monday,
in the other
oh
one.
God, I need
Yeah.
a calendar.
Right.
Anyway, I gotta go home.
But
and look
that's,
at my
Oh,
that's
calendar.
getting into Thanksgiving week.
Oh,
Right.
yeah, that is Thanksgiving week.
Right, and then the first week of December, it should be a selectman meeting.
Mhm.
So the second Tuesday in December,
But that's far away if we have
That's
to
the
get,
10th, right?
isn't that far away if we have to get that ARPA money off?
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of like, I was just trying to, in my mind, stay away from Thanksgiving. I don't know, a lot of people could be.
Well, I don't know, I mean, whatever,
Tuesday.
my life is like.
I can come Tuesday.
I can come too.
I can come that Tuesday.
Yeah, I can too.
Fine.
Yes.
So,
I might be leaving that Tuesday.
Oh,
I might be traveling.
Yeah.
So that would be the that is the
6.
26th, yeah. It's quite possible I'm traveling that day.
but if you're not, you can come, right?
Okay,
If you're not.
so,
If I'm not, right, but I don't know when we're gonna decide.
Oh, it's one of those
Okay.
family things, yeah.
Yes,
I get it.
and it could be earlier, but being that it's Thanksgiving week, do we want to meet in, not to exclude you, because the rest of us don't work now, but
If
something.
he's traveling, he's going to his
But
family.
something early in the morning, so it frees up Tuesday afternoon.
I'm good with
I'm
that.
fine.
I'm good, I'm not cooking, I don't care, so I can come anytime.
Yeah, I'm
Well, yeah,
good.
in the morning would be great.
Yeah, but yeah, I wouldn't, I
Yeah,
like
the morning is fine.
Yeah,
So 10, give yourself a
10?
10. to
Oh,
get up.
10,
Ten,
yeah, that's
yeah.
mid-morning.
I don't
Wow,
think
it's
I don't think
on.
any other board will be meeting at 10 o'clock on.
I don't think so.
on Tuesday morning, so
Now, what is the actual number? November what?
26.
26.
it's the 26th.
yeah, so I would not be able to make that, but.
Oh, you
right,
know
I
this.
don't. Oh, yeah, well, if I'm not traveling well,
Oh,
I'll
you're gonna
be
be
working Tuesday until it's time to travel,
but you can take it off.
so.
It's staying time. Work from home.
Yeah, remote, yeah.
No, and I
Oh, so
apologize.
Dave can't be
I-
there.
No, but
Can you be remote?
No, he's probably driving or something, he can't be.
Not if, yeah, but well, I wouldn't be driving at 10 in the morning,
Hmm.
I don't think,
Oh, you'd be at your real work.
but I'd be working, yeah.
Oh,
He'd be at his real work.
My wife won't let me quit my job
Yeah.
yet,
You already said that once already when you first came on board.
And it's being
Have you-
recorded.
Yeah.
so. And she knows my wife, so
I
she
was
knows
gonna say, I
that,
know
she
your
knows that
wife.
my wife's not gonna let me do that.
No,
Um,
not yet.
But if that's the case, I'm thinking to your point, that it's a relatively focused, agenda of looking at ARPA and see where. ARPA
I would
is.
personally like to do that because the idea of $800,000 not being spent and going back to
Like
the
something in
federal government,
July.
So,
when we're in, one step in
Yeah, you don't need
bankruptcy.
me, you don't need me here to do that, right? I mean.
Right,
I
to
mean,
figure out,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Get the form.
Maybe Sam could show up, you know.
Right.
Well, without Sam, are the
No,
four
we're
of us
still
enough?
quorum.
We still
Yeah.
have a quorum.
Okay, all right.
And again, if it's about ARPA, we can also still have minutes and report back.
Do like a work session like we did last time.
Similar to
Okay.
that, yeah.
But I think we have to get on that. We only have, how many
Right.
days? 45 days?
Right, so we had some questions, we, bring it up and see if treasurer can get updated information, but should we do then? So,
You want to
But
set
a regular-
December's in meeting?
yeah. at the
Oh,
beginning,
you're gonna set
I
them
think,
both?
yeah, let's do
December, the
The
second,
10th?
the
the
second,
The
second.
10th,
the 10th,
Yeah.
December
Yeah.
10th.
December 10th,
that I can do.
6 o'clock?
Let's do 6 o'clock again, yeah.
Okay.
6 o'clock.
Okay.
Number 26 is at 10 a.m.
And I'm
Now,
not
is-
showing up with the 24th, because,
Come on, Jerry, commit yourself to the town,
yeah,
best interest of the
Yeah,
town.
no, that's the thing, it's
the
kind
night
of like,
before
when
Christmas,
we
right,
hit,
yeah.
when we hit December, we'll try
Figure
to have a few more.
Because
things
January,
to-
February, March, once March hits, you gotta be double time.
We,
twice a
we,
week.
sometimes we do Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah.
In the same week?
Yep.
It's kind of like, but I'm hoping, and again, it's because budgets have always been a fight to get a balanced budget, so there's a lot of give and
Oh,
take.
maybe we can just like ease on into it and there'll be no fight. We'll just,
Yeah,
here's the
it's
rules.
kind of like,
No, there'll be a fight.
Yeah.
well, we'll see,
Yeah,
you know, it's kind of
yeah.
like.
At least there's gonna be a fight with the
It
school.
depends.
Yeah, I think that could be it.
Well,
I
that's
think-
true.
I think,
I'm afraid of God.
Okay,
Is that-
sorry.
I know, I'm afraid.
Okay, this was a wonderful meeting.
Well,
Vicki.
They're going on, and like, I don't, yeah.
Yeah, but we don't know anything. But, you know,
It's
you're
not
doing-
that you don't know anything, it's kind of like you're.
We're just getting catch up.
Yeah, getting educated on that. So
Yeah, that's
we'll
important.
entertain a motion to adjourn, it's,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
second, since we're all here.
It's 8:05.
Voice vote,
Joan Bazika, yes?
Dave Walker, yes.
Mary Jane Churchville, yes.
Carol House says yes.
Lisa's the other.
John Hayes, yes. Unanimous.
Unanimous,
Adjourned.
thank you.